we are starting today with the story out of Alabama that you may have heard about. In fact, our reviewers are already writing in. There's a lot of opinions here. The Supreme Court, they ruled that frozen embryos are children and that they should be afforded the same protection as babies. Now, the ruling is causing all sorts of confusion and anger among the IVF community, with fears about what it could mean for frozen embryos and for women seeking fertility treatment. As you can imagine, there are a lot of reactions to this ruling. The White House released a statement saying, quote, "This is exactly the type of chaos that we expected when the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade and paved the way for politicians to dictate some of the most personal decisions family can make." Now, Lila Rose, the president of Live Action, a national anti-abortion organization, said, quote, "It is not acceptable to leave human beings on ice. It is not acceptable to destroy them. These are not commodities." Those are her words. So what do you all think of this decision and what it could mean for women in that state? Erica, you've been very brave and transparent on this panel about your IVF journey. I thought about you immediately. What are you feeling?
Until Lila Rose is about to run my 150 racks back to me, she has absolutely no reason to have a conversation with me about my IVF journey, my fertility journey, or what is potentially happening in my uterus or could in the future, period. I find this to be, I'm really wondering what we're all looking over here, so I'm wondering what's happening over here. I also want to just explain to people that I'm only 5 days out of my third round of IVF retrieval. My belly is still swollen and I am not one to be played with in this moment, because you don't understand the lack of resources as someone who has the resources. There are so few resources for people when it comes to fertility and IVF journeys. This is not something that people are just deciding to store embryos because it's something cool to do. They will tell you the average IVF patient is between 35 and 44. Yes, it has to do with fertility. It also has to do with the resources of being able to do it, because most of us aren't going to get a break in that cost. And when they want their money, it can't be funny, okay? They want their money now. I also want to say to people who are very unclear about the amount of embryos it takes to have a live birth, most IVF doctors will tell you at the age of 40, you need 30 eggs in order to potentially have one live birth. They tell you to have at least 2 embryos per attempt at your family planning. So if you want 2 children, they want you to have 4 embryos. It's a numbers game. But here's a message really to white women, especially in an election year. White women, married, the 81% who are over $100,000 in income, this is about you, and they are coming for you, because y'all comprise of over 61% of people who are able to get IVF. When I go into an IVF clinic, nobody else looks like me. They talking to you. They talking to the ones who were very outspoken, as you should be, about Roe v. Wade being overturned. This is your warning shot. They coming for you and your embryos. So I want you to be very, very clear when it's time to vote. Exactly when you think that it doesn't affect you, I'm telling you right now, they are going to come for you until you decide that everyone affects you. All of this is affected. It is like, I'm shaking.
You're shaking.
Yeah, because it's like, people are going to be more upset with me for saying that my husband and I are $150,000 in out of pocket for IVF because it's uncouth to talk about your finances. But it's not uncouth for you to talk about my fertility and my embryos and my ability to have a child. It's like everything is so messed up right now. And I want people to feel like when you feel like, okay, I make a certain amount of money or this demographic, they don't come for us. No, they're making it very clear. White women, they coming for you.
Powerful words. Thank you, Erica. Thank you.
Again, I can feel you, and I totally understand you. I can literally feel you, the anger. May I say this will also bleed into other states. They are looking to other states to do more of this. Doctors are now, this is a nightmare. What are you going to do if you need to do fertility? Are you going to be an accessory to murder? Are you going to need to put your embryos on ice forever, or else they are murdered? So all of this creates a IVF nightmare. What Alabama fertility clinic would ever want to move to your state? That's a loss of money there. Anyway, all of this is unconstitutional in my perfectly formed opinion in my head. And I have to say this is a losing vote for the Republicans. If you keep pushing this, you're going to get those white women who never thought they'd vote Democratic because you're in their doctor's office.
Losing vote, you believe?
Yeah.
Do you think this is a losing vote, Jeff?
Yeah, you know, this is political. And again, when it comes to Erica's body, it should be Erica's choice. I watched my wife give birth twice. I say this all the time. I'm not the one that my body's being exerted for. It's hers. She should have the choice, not the government. I get people get worked up in their religious aspects. I'm Catholic, okay? And it should still be a woman's choice. This embryo thing, it's absurd to me that that's a human being. So is aborting a child when it's 8.5 months in the womb. I'm not an idiot. I'm not for that. There has to be a happy medium. But when it comes to politics, you're all on my side or you're not at all. And I'm very much in the middle, and I'm very much politically aborted myself. I don't have a political party, right? I'm very much in the middle because I see idiotic things on both sides. The left has them as well, but this is the biggest one for the right side, and it is going to affect the election for sure.
Do you think it's going to affect the election?
Absolutely.
This is
I
it
mean,
right here?
if this is, you know, I think they already touched the third rail with abortion. We've seen that kind of small microcosms of that flaring up with these special elections in which Democrats are doing extremely well, and I think that's because they've galvanized a voting base of 18-year-old women up that see the rest of their life in the hands of young Supreme Court justices that are leaning completely to the right. I guess if you're going to go for it, since they've already gone after abortion and overturned it, this falls in line. But it just seems counterintuitive, Sam, because you're saying you can't get an abortion, but if you're somebody like Erica and her husband that are like, we are willing to pay tens of thousands of dollars to have a child,
right,
they also can't do that either. So I really feel like if you look at that, you take the smoke away, it seems like it is an attack on women that are professionals and have enough money to have autonomy over themselves. People such as Erica and women like her that wait a little bit later, they usually do that for their careers. They usually have more money, and that is not always looked at as a good thing to everybody, even though you would think it would be.
I know we got to go, but
Yep.
just one last thing. I'm glad that you mentioned that it's me and my husband, because when they're talking about embryos, and that's the reason why I said it's so important, white mothers in the suburbs, this is specifically for you. They're not talking about eggs. They're talking about you, your husband, your life partner, whoever it is, who have decided to come together and have a life this way. That's very specific, because you can go to an IVF clinic for a few different reasons. But when they're coming for your embryos, they coming for you, your baby daddy, and your whole family.
Right.
So just know that.
Right.
Know that.
Wow. Well, really good conversation.